So welcome everybody. We are really excited to have you here today for our webinar, Zero Reentry, Full Visibility, How Universities are Transforming Their Admissions Processes. So welcome everybody, and we're excited to have you. So really quickly, I'm just going to walk through our agenda, then a quick housekeeping note. So today we're going to be going through introductions, the pain points of education admissions and the administrative process, the Salesforce Education Cloud functionality and use cases, SOS intake, and then Q&A session at the end. So just one quick housekeeping item. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat, and then we'll go through all of those questions towards the end during our Q&A session. Amazing. So we'll just start with a quick round of introductions. So with us today, we have Pam, Josie, and Peter. So starting with Pam, he is the Business Development Director here at NimbusPoint. He brings over 20 years of experience across IT, business process automations, and business development. He's known for building strong relationships at every level and has a deep understanding of what it takes to deliver real customer value on the Salesforce platform. Next, we have Josie, who is a Salesforce consultant and education specialist at NimbusPoint. Josie has spent over 10 plus years leading high-performing teams and managing complex operations in the education sector, including overseeing 10,000 admissions applications, making her an expert at the CRM systems for education. And finally, we have Peter, Director of Go-to-Market Sales and Client Solutions at SnapOn Software. So Peter has 20 plus years of helping clients maximize their value on the Microsoft 365 investments. With deep expertise in the SharePoint, Microsoft Teams, and the Power Platform, Peter bridges the gap between technical functionality and real-world business outcomes. So welcome today to all of our speakers. We're very excited to listen to your insights.
Thank you.
Awesome. And just quickly walking through who is NimbusPoint and who is SnapOn Software. So NimbusPoint is the leading Salesforce Select partner that designs, delivers, and customizes CRM solutions across business verticals. They were founded in 2011 and headquartered in Leeds, UK. So NimbusPoint prides itself on being a leader within the education space and with deep knowledge in the education cloud with their own software product, AdmissionSync. And of course, we have SnapOn Software as well. So SnapOn Software is a software development firm specializing in enterprise tools across the Microsoft 365, NetSuite, and Salesforce ecosystem. They were founded in 2005 and headquartered here in Canada with a global customer footprint. They focus on creating cutting-edge technology for collaboration, productivity, compliance and governance, systems and integrations, and migration and security assessments. So across the two companies, you can see that we have a plethora of education and admission customers. So we have admission customers across the globe from Canada and the US to the UK, Germany, and China. And so we'll get into a few of these customer use cases further on the slides. So that's just a quick introduction, but I am happy now to pass off to Josie, who will walk through the pain points of the admissions process.
Thank you, Ireland. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. So I'm just going to walk through some of the pain points that I've experienced directly from leading admissions teams, as well as what we hear about consistently from the teams that we work with. So a really common starting point is disconnected legacy systems. Most institutions are running a CRM alongside a separate student record system. And because those systems don't talk to each other, you end up with data silos. And information is living in multiple places, it gets out of sync, and nobody has a complete picture of what's going on. And that feeds directly into the lack of a 360-degree view of the applicant. So if inquiry data is in one place, application information in another, and bookings or enrollment records somewhere else entirely, admissions teams are constantly context switching just to do their jobs well. And if those systems aren't integrated, so much of that work becomes manual. So whether it's the inquiry stage or further into the admissions process, teams are rekeying data, duplicating effort, and spending time on admin that could be automated, taking up time that could be spent actually speaking with their inquirers or their applicants. And without the automation side, communication does tend to suffer. So applicants are aren't being kept informed at each stage. Information that they're being sent can differ, which affects their experiences and also increases the volume of inbound queries that a team has to handle. And that limited engagement doesn't just stop at the application stage. So during re-enrollment, students often feel just as in the dark, which can have a real impact on retention. And underpinning all of this is the reporting challenge. So when there's no single source of truth, data accuracy is always in question. Pulling reliable ports means reconciling information across multiple systems, which is not sustainable. Pam, before I carry on, is there anything else you would like to add?
No, I think this is a common theme across the universities and colleges that we deal with these days, and we'll delve into the detail of how we resolve some of these.
Thank you. Next slide, please. So now we're going to look at some of the functionality of Education Cloud. So one of the things that I really love about it is that it really does give you a true 360-degree view of every applicant. So from the first inquiry through to their application, any bookings, any enrollments, everything just sits in one place on a single record. So you can view that full history of any applicant at just a glance, every interaction that's been made with them, and every document and every decision. With Education Cloud, any bookings can also be managed directly as well. So whether that's for open days, auditions, admissions interviews, they'll all be linked to that applicant's record. And alongside that, there's also automated communication. So that means that the right message goes to the right person at the right time without teams having to manually trigger anything at all. It also means that the messaging being sent is consistent as well. On the application itself, teams can carry out reviews and capture decisions directly in the system. So they can work with consistent entry conditions and requirement templates that can all be configured upfront. And what that means is everyone gets the same details and no manual entry is needed. There's also payments and capability to capture quite a few things within Education Cloud. So whether it's sending invoices, having payment functionality, and also tracking what's been received, along with any integrations as well to existing finance systems so that everything is kept aligned if different systems are being used. And as for the applicant and student experience, there is a self-service portal where people can check their application status, seek support, and also raise cases. There's also something similar on the agent side. So we have experience sites that give them oversight of their applicants without them needing direct access to internal systems as well. And there's also document generation tools as well. So there is items that come straight out of the box with Education Cloud, but there's also additional apps that can be added on. But they can be used for things such as offer letters and enrollment documentation that are generated directly from the system with the applicant details, and they can be rerun at different stages as well. I'm just going to check with Pam if there's anything else that I've missed there.
No, it's all good. I think one of the key differentiators is that applicant portal and that engagement that allows them to engage better during the application stage.
Yes, absolutely. In that case, I am now going to hand over to Pam, who will talk you through some of the use cases.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
So
Josie.
typically what we see across universities and colleges, some commonality there. Primarily, most organizations, institutions, they have legacy applications, siloed, unconnected applications, limited view and limited engagement with the applicant during the application process. So in terms of what we've done, BIM was a customer of ours of NimbusPoint for many years, and they were a typical case where they had legacy applications, fragmented data, and what we did, we managed to pull all the data, all the applications, and have it all surfaced into Salesforce to give that single view of the applicant and the application process. We did it across taught and short courses. We also built in a payment gateway which transacted directly into Salesforce and to the finance system, and came back into Salesforce to give that complete view pre-enrollment. Next slide, please. Yep. So Richmond, again, a customer of ours for many years. They had obviously the campus in North America and in the UK in London, and they were another typical use case. We extended our services around marketing automation, so we created some automated journeys for the applicant, and we kept in touch with the applicant through the application process. We redirect them to the portal at every stage of application process. So keeping that engagement is really, really key with applicants, because they are applying to many universities at the same time. So just staying top of mind was one of the key differentiators. Both BIM and UCAS and Richmond, sorry, they had a UCAS integration that NimbusPoint had built. It's a two-way integration, which it obeys the embargo period as well, and it sends decisions back into UCAS directly from Salesforce. Next slide, I believe we have a quick demo of Admission Sync.
Yeah, I'm just going to play it, so let me know if you guys can hear it and see it okay, and then we'll be good to go.
Very much.
Amazing. Thank you, Pam and Josie, for both shedding light on the application process and how Salesforce Education Cloud, as well as Admission Sync, can help solve those problems. I'll now pass it off to Peter, who will be able to go through the SOS intake. You're on mute, Peter.
Thank you. So thank you, Ireland, and thank you to Pam and Josie for taking us through Education Cloud and also the specific offerings which we have with Admission Sync. I'm going to talk a little bit very briefly about our product within SnapOn software, which is called Intake. It is a application which is a platform agnostic intake form solution, works with both Salesforce, Microsoft 365 and NetSuite, and it allows you to supplement what we've seen today. So it allows you to capture those data capture processes which are not currently ideally suited within the solutions which we've already talked about. It's got some really nice capabilities. It connects directly to Salesforce. It's got controls to manage things like conditional logic, required data, as well as advanced features like QR codes, camera controls, and Canvas. We can build, and I'll show you briefly in a quick demonstration, we can build forms in minutes, make them available to people on tablets, laptops, mobile devices, easily to capture data through different use cases. And if we move to the next slide, I'll briefly talk about those use cases. So some of the examples which maybe you wouldn't be able to cover in the solutions which we've talked about so far today within Education Cloud, or where offering more mobile first options may be more suitable. So doing things like surveys or feedback forms from like events and open days, which you've gone out and engaged with different schools, potentially capturing contact information from people during those visits, or if you're running separate business events to get sort of sponsorship or support or internships programs with businesses, that you can capture those information, whether that's at events or other things which you're doing. Simple registration processes. So think of things like, as a student, do you want to sign up for something like a program, a club, a sports body, or something else like that during your time with the university? These can be really made available very simply via QR code sign up. So I'll show you that briefly. And then also taking it beyond just the admissions process. So covering things like maintenance issues, being able to report faults very easily with things like camera control integration and other very simple, easy to use Canvas controls to capture that data. Now, hopefully this will work successfully, and I will take over screen sharing from Ireland, and I'll be able to do a brief demo with you. Can we see that okay?
Yep, we're good.
Perfect. So briefly to show you, you can sign into Intake using any of these options, including Salesforce. This is the designer interface. So as a designer, I can go and build new forms. These forms are really simple to use. So I can select the relevant table from within Salesforce, and I can come in here and create a new form. All of those fields from that table are available for me to use. It's really simple. I can just drag and drop those fields directly on the form and lay out my form however I want it to do. There's also additional controls like capture files, signature lines. Canvas allows us to do things like take a picture on our phone and mark that up, as well as text boxes, choices, other types of controls. We can control the style of these forms, as well as what gets filled in when someone submits the form. On individual fields, we can implement conditional content and validation. So this particular option will define when this field is shown or not. And also we can put in validations to say, for example, this is required to be of a type email, or a number of other standard rules, as well as custom rules, which you can implement. What do one of these forms actually look like? Well, the good thing is you can actually go and access them directly from within the form itself. So here you get some really nice options to make that form available. We can open it directly within the browser. That's an external accessible link, which I can go and fill in now and complete that form. And this data doesn't require me to log in, and it will be automatically submitted to Salesforce. We can have those sort of conditional controls. So if I like that particular field, I can then interact with it more. So we've got these different types of rating controls, and I can go and submit this data. And in this case, this will go and create me a contact directly within my Salesforce system. So just have a quick refresh. And there you go. There's my new contact record created. Other things to note here, you've got the embed code, so you can just copy and embed this directly on your website. You've got the sort of styling options, as well as having pre-filled values. So for example, if you're at an event or a roadshow or visiting a school, you could pre-tag all of the entries which you get from that specific entry. Also, for those of you who want to follow along, every one of the forms comes with a QR code capability. So if I just do that on my phone, and I'll switch to my app on my Mac in a second as that loads. So here we can see it should work exactly the same on my mobile device. So mobile ready forms as well. So really easy to capture data in whatever use case you want to do, and that data goes and feeds directly into Salesforce. So to capture all of those other intake admissions needs, which maybe you can't natively do, or it lends itself to these sort of mobile first intake forms. I'll stop sharing and hand the screen sharing back to Ireland, and then we can move towards a summary and some questions.
Amazing. Thank you, Peter. Thanks for walking us through the SOS intake use cases and demo there. It's amazing to see how a simple and easy to use product can really add some important additional capabilities. So thank you for walking us through that. You guys can see my screen okay now? Perfect. Awesome. We'll just go through a really quick recap. So to summarize, universities face admissions challenges caused by disconnected systems, manual processes, and limited visibility. So Salesforce Education Cloud centralizes application data. It can automate workflows and improve engagement. So it allows us to streamline admissions with integrated Salesforce solutions. So both NimbusPoint and SnapOn software help institutions build more efficient, scalable, and student-focused admissions process. So for all of those on the call today, if you would like, we are offering a free 30-minute assessment of your admissions process. So I'm just going to go ahead now and share this link into the chat. So if you're interested in that 30-minute free assessment, feel free to sign up via that link that I just sent in the chat there. As well, please follow NimbusPoint and SnapOn software on LinkedIn to follow for more industry insights, offerings, and updates. Amazing. So now we'll just move into a Q&A session. Feel free to ask any questions to the chat, and then I can help moderate those and share them with our speakers. Just give it a second for a few to come in there. Awesome. Okay, we had one come through. I'm going to direct this towards Josie or Pam if you guys would like to answer this question. The question is, how long does it typically take to implement Education Cloud?
I can take that one, Josie. So typically we'll be talking end-to-end recruitment admissions up to pre-enrollment with the portal and SRS integration between 9 and 12 months. However, we do recommend a more of an MVP approach or a phased approach to the program of work. What we find that works really well is a period of 6 to 8 weeks defining the user requirements, building out the user stories and the BRD diagrams, and that certainly helps in road mapping the deployment.
Awesome. Thanks, Pam. We had one more come through here as well. The question is, and I'll direct this towards Peter and then open it up to the broader team. What do I need to consider when migrating data from my current system?
Well, I'll definitely defer that to Josie.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
When migrating, or do you want to go, Pam? You go.
I can. The data is always that grey area. We need to be able to look across the entire state, the tech stack, and have a look at the records and key identifiers and build one unique identifier which associates all the records in all the applications. So it's we don't clean the data. We don't cleanse the data. That's down to each individual organisation to cleanse the data. But what we do is guide our customers into how to do that. But the key thing is those identifiers and uniquely identify an applicant and an application against the course.
Amazing. Thanks, Pam. I'm not seeing any more questions come through the chat. If anybody wants to just unmute themselves and ask a few questions, feel free to do that as well. If not, I will just give it a few more minutes before we wrap up. Okay, well, if you do have any more questions, feel free to send us an email or follow us on LinkedIn. You can send us a message there as well. We're happy to answer any of your questions. So thank you all so much for taking the time out of your day to come to our webinar. We hope that you learned something and can take some of these admissions processes with you going forward. So thank you so much, everybody.